We're at Stapleford Health and Rehab. This is the Strength Lab, and I'm Kiley Borns, one of the owners at Stapleford, and I'm an exercise physiologist.
And I'm Allison Matzik, and I'm one of the other owners at Stapleford Health and Rehab, and I'm a physiotherapist.
Well, initially, I purchased Stapleford Health and Rehab from a man named Tony Durkin. He was located on Stapleford Boulevard, which is why it's called Stapleford Health and Rehab. We kept the name and then moved it to the Normanview Mall. And about 9 years ago, we decided to move into this wonderful location, and here we are today.
So one day my dad and uncle knew Kiley, and they bumped into her out at a function, and they just started talking about this new building and development that we had going on down at Canterbury, and it just turned out that she and Allison were starting to look for a new location.
We heard about a space that was being developed. We were in the process of actually adding on to our clinic at the Normanview Mall, and this just sort of came at the 11th hour. So we came and looked at the space, and both Allison and I really liked the idea of being downtown and having this boutique location where, you know, it's in a heritage area. It was new and upcoming, so.
And it's nice and central too, right? Like that was such a driving factor, because initially we were in the North End. And, you know, you're isolated in one corner of the city. You get a lot of people that don't want to go that far.
This space, I think, worked really well for them because there was some potential to expand, and they would see that. So they ended up being full right away in their first space, and it was a little bit busting at the seams, and they're trying to coordinate, you know, when practitioners were in and how they could flip them around.
We wanted to expand on our space that we had in the North End, and so when we first signed on for the lease for the main space, it was kind of our group at that point, we had sort of connected with another group to sort of take over that space. And within a couple of years, we were tight for space. So we went through that whole process with the Fiorantes to sort of say, okay, where could we connect the two? How would this work? How are we gonna make it work with front desk? That type of thing. And so that took us a little bit of time, but they were super helpful. And fast forward a couple of years and we were in the same boat. We were kind of like, you know, we're tight for space and I wonder if there's anything else. So we contacted Chris and said, any other space opening up? And she's like, actually, we could probably have this one for you. So then we did the same idea with that.
We were able to go get some plans done where we connected through the back of their space. They still felt like they were connected to the full space, which was nice. So it was really just a text from Kiley saying, like, we're busting at the seams and more people want to come. What can we do? And then we'll just text back and forth for a bit until we're like, okay, maybe we should have an in-person meeting about this. And so then we sit down with Allison and Kiley and are able to hash out how this could look.
It came organically. There would be a space open. Chris would call us. We'd look at each other, say, should we do it? And then we'd kind of like bang out some numbers.
Yeah.
And then this is how it progressed.
They're so good at making decisions. They just know what they want. They have visions. And so that's like so easy. They're like the easiest clients to deal with like that. And then Darcy takes over and gets all the construction put together with all of our trades.
The other point is Darcy. Darcy works with them, and Darcy has pretty much been with us from the start.
From day one, yeah.
And there's been little things that, you know, as new owners, we didn't know whose responsibility it was, so we would call Darcy and he'd show up, and I don't even think it's his job to do it, but he would. And he'd be hanging hooks for us. I don't think he really wants anybody to know that, but he was fantastic and always accessible, so.
People always come first, and so you're always doing your best, and we treat them kind of like family members. We don't set up expectations that they're maybe not going to be able to achieve with their budget. We try to be really realistic from the get-go and not overpromise things that aren't going to be realistic for them to achieve. We build the best house that we can, and we work with like, as we're multi-generational business, we work with other trades that are multi-generational too, which is really cool because you just have that connection. So if there's a change that a client wants, instead of being like, oh, we're charging you $1 million and, you know, or maybe this can't be done, we just can say, hey, you know, you pick up the phone and say, hey, our client would really like this. What can we do about it? And then we just hash it out so that we can make it happen for them. So I think we're really flexible as well. We just always want to make sure that the bones are as strong as they possibly can be in that foundation for the home. Anybody can build pretty, I think, but to build strong is another story. So, yeah.